welcome you to this week's installment of Conversations with Joy. We're doing a series called The Stories of Our Lives, and it is all about sharing our passions and the stories of our lives so that in doing that we can influence and learn from one another. So this week I'm really excited because I am talking about and sharing this new program that I have called Eat, Weigh, Love. And I'm partnering with a wellness coach who is just amazing. His name is Tony Tate, and so I interviewed him and we'll share with you a little bit of his story and his philosophy. And then we'll share together, both through me asking him and him asking me about sort of the Eat, Weigh, Love. We are actually having a launch on April the 26th, and we'll be able to do that not only in the office but also over the web. So it will give sort of the details of the program and how you can join us. So we would love to have you. You can get more information both on my website, divorcewithjoy.com, including the blog, or just shoot me an email if you want to get some more information and be invited. And so now we have for you Mr. Tony Tate. So you have a passion, I think, for health and wellness.
Yes.
And where does that come from?
My passion for health and wellness comes from my grandmother, and it started at an earlier age. I remember one Thanksgiving in particular. I believe I was either 8, 9, or 10, and we were shopping, and we came down the aisle, and she said, "Grab a bucket of those." And so I looked at the top, and it said pork chitterlings, and I said, "Well, what is a chitterling?" You know, I knew pork was a pig, but I was like, "What is a chitterling?" She said, "Well, look it up when you get home." And I looked it up, and I realized that it was hog intestines, and we call it soul food, but and I'm not going to go down that whole thing as to why it's called soul food, but basically I realized that this is not something that I was putting in my body, and it made sense why the whole entire house stunk whenever she cooked it.
Right.
So from that point on, I started monitoring what I put in my body, as I didn't put just anything in my mouth because someone gave it to me.
But where do you think, because most kids would have just, reacted a totally different way. Most kids eat what their parents give them. So what made you different?
Because that was right around the same age, and I also kind of started going into computers, and believe it or not, garbage in, garbage out. Mm-hmm. And that was something that I realized that doesn't just apply for computers, it also applies to what we eat, because unfortunately my grandfather smoked. And he died when I was 5 years of age from lung cancer. And I knew that it had to do with what he was putting in his body, but there wasn't an emphasis on smoking being bad for you then. So for me, I just wanted to live a long time. I kept having dreams of being, old, and that wasn't going to happen. Because I feel like, even in the Bible, God tells us we're going to live about 120 years. So that's not going to happen if I'm smoking and putting bad stuff in my body, because how long is your car going to last if you keep putting inferior, fuel or oil in it? Mm-hmm. Not long at all.
From that genesis, how did your coaching evolve over time?
They're pretty much the same way. I look at, I always had friends who, instead of getting a Snickers bar, grab an apple. Grab an apple, throw some peanut butter on it. That was free, and plus they gave that to us because I came from low-income households, so we could get apples and we could get peanut butter because the government gave it to us, but the government wasn't handing out Snickers bars.
How do you deal with the mental component of wellness with your clients?
I started I have a cousin, and I'll just say that I have a cousin because there's a few that could fit in this category and they may see this, but one of them had their toes amputated because of type 2 diabetes. And for me, and this is my baby cousin, this is a cousin that's younger than me, that had that happen, and I'm thinking, what's wrong when my younger cousin is getting, body parts amputated because of type 2 diabetes? And then I start looking at the causes directly to what we eat. So that's kind of where I just want to try to help as many people as I can, understand that there are triggers, there are emotional triggers, identifying what they are. If you're someone that has like an oral fixation, if you just kind of have to crunch something when you're watching a movie, maybe we switch it out for carrots and celery versus, you know, a big old bag of chips, because some people can just wolf down a bag of chips and not even know, they didn't even really want the chips. They just wanted that crunching sensation, you know, while they were, you know, watching that. So watching people do things to their body in a destructive way, it's just wrong. And some people don't realize that they're doing wrong. And I think if you educate them, they'll do better. Because when you know better, you have to do better. Then the responsibility's on you.
I know that you're a man of faith.
Yes.
And how does that play into your career?
Actually, that plays a lot into my career. A lot of times, you know, I'm trying to give people good, sound doctrine when it comes to what they're eating, but then there's also the other side of it too. You know, I'm one of those people that, look, we can go out and we can have a pizza all day and pizza and hot dogs, and I eat everything in moderation. So there's just some things that I just don't eat because they're not good for you. But if we're going to have pizza and wings and we say grace and ask God to have this nourish and bless our bodies, come on. You know, God's going to be like, we can be, God, thank you for this food. Amen. You know, but then 2 weeks later, you know, you got somebody in the group saying, y'all pray for me, I'm going to the hospital, and, you know, pray that I get a good report. I'm like, no, I'm going to pray that if there's something wrong with you, we figure out what it is so we know what corrective action to take. You're going to reap what you sow. Mm-hmm. And that's not just in our behaviors, that's in our body. You keep putting bad stuff in your body, guess what? You sow bad stuff, you're going to reap a bad harvest in your body, whether that's back pains or high blood pressure, and, you know, then you want to get started on the sodiums and all those other kind of things that we just throw down without even thinking about it.
What do you say to the person who says, you know, I'm a single parent, I work, I just don't have time to do the things that you're telling me to do?
I tell them that then they need to adjust their priorities, because here's the thing, if you know, when I'm talking about my faith, you know, most of the times we tell people that they need to be a good steward over their time and their money. Mm-hmm. Where's the help? Because you can have all the time and the money in the world, but if you have poor health, your time and your money is going to be spent in the hospital and paying medical bills.
Right. What's your biggest challenge as a coach?
I think as a coach, my biggest challenge is getting people to tell, when people, it's the reprogramming. Right. When they say to me, oh, I was just born that way, and that's just what I was raised on. Well, you know what? That's great. You know, because if I had just relied on what I was raised on, I'd still be fat back. I'd be, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff that people probably in cities have no clue that is actually edible.
What was your last aha moment?
When it pertains to someone I was coaching or for myself? Whatever. I realized that my kids are going to do exactly what they see me do and what they can get away with. That was my aha moment, because I have a 15-year-old son who's also 6'4", my height, you know, size 14 shoe, my size shoe, but the difference is I'm about 12 pounds heavier than he is. Right. So that was an aha moment for me.
What's your biggest challenge as a single dad?
A single dad's challenge. I mean, everything. Court time. You know, getting up. 4:30 in the morning comes really early, but if I let 5:30 hit me, then I'm going to have a busy day before my day begins. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's just it. Going to bed when I'm supposed to go to bed.
And when is that?
Whenever I can shut this thing off, and sometimes it just keeps going.
So what are some tips for those single parents that are trying to do everything for everybody?
Well, yeah, you do have to have good health, because you also have to be a good steward over your health, like I've said earlier. But planning. You know, we all get the same 24 hours in a day. Mm-hmm. You know, but a single parent sometimes has to wear the mother and the father hat. So you're just going to have to, you know, those outside peak hours, I call it between the tens, you know, between 10 o'clock at night and 10 o'clock in the morning, that's when you have to do a lot of your stuff, you know, to be ready for the week. You know, pre-cook a lot of your meats, like your chickens, you know, things like that on a Sunday. Pre-cook a lot of rice, because you can just add some water to rice, a little olive oil, and put it in the microwave, cover it up, and then it tastes, and it's just like it was when it was made. So a lot of the bulk cooking and put them in containers and just plan. I know we don't like to do it. I know Sundays is our days, but we have to do it, because if we take a little bit of time on Sunday, it'll save us a lot of time during the week.
So what are the biggest, I guess, things that people fall into, but traps that people fall into?
The eating by default versus eating by design. They didn't plan. One strike. They're rushing. Another strike. They're driving by a drive-through. Something quick. Not only have they probably are left with a bad choice, because let's face it, if you go to somewhere and you know it's a bad choice, what is the likelihood, that you'll actually stop, get out of the drive-through, and go into Publix and grab something quick to eat? It's very nil. It's almost 0 to none. And that's the biggest thing that I would say, eating by default versus eating by design.
Do you have your boys on the same sort of healthy diet?
Well, everything that we eat is called a diet. I think we have a bad connotation of that word, but everybody has an eating diet. Whether you put on it is different. We don't have to have the word diet, but my sons, I just don't buy it.
But what do you do about school? Because there's all kinds of junk at school.
That's the moderation.
Okay.
During the week, I don't give it to them during the week. And on the weekends, we'll have something here and there.
So, Mr. Tate.
Yes.
You're going to partner with me on Eat, Way, Love.
Yes, I'm really, really excited to kind of be a behind-the-scenes supportive role with everything that we're doing.
Yeah. Tell me how you see Eat, Way, Love, where you see it going, and how you see it helping people in the future.
Obviously, one person's testimony becomes someone else's, goal, if you will. So that's how I see it helping multiple people. And as far as where it's going, our job is just to kind of do the increase. Excuse me, not the increase, the work. It's God's job to provide the increase. And so with Eat, Weigh, and Love, what we're looking to do is we're looking to help people who have those triggers, whether they're emotional, environmental triggers that cause them to do that. Because let's face it, you didn't just buy it. You're not, 320 pound supermodel, and then you buy a hamburger and all of a sudden you're 190 pounds. It's a process. And it happens that way. And so what we want to do is we want to try to get people to identify the triggers, whether they're emotional, mental, maybe even physical, and perhaps financial, and get them to deal with those triggers a different way.
Why do you think this program, Eat, Weigh, Love, over, Slim Fast, Weight Watchers, all of the ones that are more established?
Those, we'll say some of those, they make you pay money. If you feel like you've been penalized, if you didn't do something, you didn't reach a goal, and it's like, all right, you're going to pay us this amount of money now. And it's like, dang, So now they got to pay for this specific food with them. I don't even want to talk about Slim Fast because that's just that product is absolutely inferior to a lot of things that are on the market. It's not all natural. It doesn't have organic in its base, because I think we've kind of gotten away from those things. And one of the things we want to teach people how to do is what and how to put it in your body. Because when you have that, when the core of what they're putting in their body is natural, then now we can start helping them and helping facilitate and being the support structure and kind of build that in there. Kind of the whole takes a village, to do that.
So, what are you passionate about now?
I'm really passionate about the health and wellness aspect of what we're doing with the proper supplementation that I would recommend. Whether I'm helping someone physically or partnering with them financially to help them achieve those same things.
And by that, you're talking about Ocean Avenue.
Yeah, absolutely, Ocean Avenue, because it has a family faith first focused, and I love that. Because everything from the different Christ-centered type, tools and everything that it has as far as teaching young kids from an early age how to eat right, leadership skills, letting them know that they're responsible for their actions. The company is the closest company that I could find, and I researched a little over 70 of them over the last 7 years. Interesting number, 7 and 70. That just realized that actually really embodies it. It doesn't just say it. It's not all about the cash and the flash and the dash, but it's about, the spending time with the family, because sometimes, believe it or not, some of those environments can be, most people who are overweight, their family members or siblings are overweight, if they're really close-knit. But if they feel like the black sheep of the family, then that person is overweight when everybody else is pretty healthy. So a lot of times that's the case, and we want to get away from that. We want to teach them that doesn't have to be something they're trying to cover up with food, or they're trying to soothe with food. And we're going to teach them a lot of those different things. So that you were actually the one who wanted to come up with this type of a model. We just didn't have a name for it yet, but you wanted to do this. You wanted to kind of help other women who may have been struggling in those areas. So why is that?
Because I understand.
Okay.
I feel strongly that it's funny that you say that it takes a village, because I feel strongly that this is something that I'm supposed to share with others. I think and it's not necessarily that I have figured it out and I'm going to tell somebody how to do it. I think this is a discovery process. I think over the course of 30 years of dieting, I think I've learned a lot into the health and wellness and what to eat and when to eat and all that. But really and truly, for me and for a lot of people, that's not the issue.
Right.
You said when you know better, you do better, but that's not always true. I've known better for at least 20 years. Mm-hmm. And I have not gotten to the place where I can fully implement that stuff, all of that into my life. And so what I am doing and the journey that I have been on is to really get to the why. I have learned a lot about the why, and I want to share that with other women. And I want us all to not get healthy out of shame. Don't look in the mirror and say, oh, I wish, I can't stand that extra 20 pounds, or I can't stand that extra 30 pounds, or I can't, I want us to love ourselves and each other through this.
What can you share? What are some just recent things that you've done, whether that is with Ocean Avenue products or just things that you've done? What has happened with you, recently?
Well, when I say recently, over the course of the last couple of years, it started with some really intensive therapy to figure out the root of the issue. But then recently, I had been on thyroid medication for probably 3 years. Recently, I decided, you know what? I don't feel like that's right for me anymore. I don't want to put this hormone into my body every day. I think that on some level it may be doing more harm than good. So went off the thyroid medicine, started on the Invigorate product through Ocean Avenue, which has been really good. Before that, anytime that I would go miss my thyroid medication, I would be depressed, and it really your thyroid affects all of your hormones and how they distribute into the body. So it would be really difficult to go off the medication, but it hasn't been at all. With some of the natural products that are offered, including Invigorate, that are offered through Ocean Avenue. So that's a different spin on it. I think that people a lot of times when people have been fueling themselves inappropriately for a long period of time, they don't know that they can feel better.
Gotcha.
And I think that the Invigorate helps with that. It's sort of like a kickstart. It gets you to feeling better, and then you sort of work backwards. Like, okay, now how can I how can I fuel myself properly to keep this going? Gotcha. As opposed to doing it the other way around, which is sometimes more difficult.
But what I would like to say to you is that how do you feel about people that say, oh well, any products will work, or or anything like that. People say, true.
Products. No product is going to get you healthy. They are aids, but it starts with you and the choices that you make and why you make them. Okay. And I want to discover that with people. I mean, it really is a really amazing journey that gets to the core of who you are, and I want to live that very authentically with people.
Okay. So what is Eat, Weigh, and Love not?
It's not a diet. Look, and it's not shameful. I don't care how much somebody weighs when they come in. I don't care if they never weigh themselves ever in life. Because a lot of women, when they step on the scale, they feel shame. They feel like disappointed, like they disappointed themselves and their family and all these people who want the best for them.
Okay.
It's not that.
So it's not a group that's going to point fingers. It's not a group that's going to tell you whatever this is. It's not a group that's going to be competitive, perhaps?
No.
Okay. All right. All right.
So what is your guilty pleasure?
Wow. Guilty pleasure. I would probably have to say chocolate milk
Okay.
is a guilty pleasure of mine. A seasonal guilty pleasure is, who doesn't love Girl Scout chocolate Thin Mints?
What makes you laugh?
I think I'll make myself laugh a lot. I'm probably the funniest person that I know, and people can feel free to laugh along with me, or they can just laugh at me as opposed to laughing with me. There is a difference. So everything really, I can find my inner voice makes me laugh the most.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
The movie that I love the most, because I'm so far in my circles, I'm the only one that's ever thought about it, but Independence Day with Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith. And it's my favorite movie because I've always thought that we should all get along, but two of the most persecuted races on this planet, African Americans and Jewish people, end up saving the world. So I didn't mean to go deep on you. I know it's just Independence Day. You got Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, but that's why that's one of my favorite movies.
What was your favorite childhood game?
And this is probably going to sound bad, but my favorite childhood game was It. Because to this day, I still don't know what It was, but it was just a bad thing. If somebody was like, you're It, you're like, I'm It.
What was your nickname growing up?
Oh, man. By my friends or my family?
Both.
Oh, wow. All right. My friends, the ones that liked me, they just called me T-Bird. Because when I was in elementary school, I was cast in the play Grease, and there's a part where they go like walk, talk like T-Birds, woo! So I would do that, and I was practicing for that part. I was doing that all the time. So my friends just called me T-Bird. And my family, they called me Dang It. Yeah.
Okay.
My dad would say, Dang it, who did that? Dang it, come here.
What's your favorite breakfast?
Wow, favorite breakfast. I am from the South, so you can't have breakfast without having grits. So grits, eggs, lightly peppered, turkey sausage links, whole grain English muffins with natural apple preservatives.
What's your dream job?
I think I do it. I don't necessarily enjoy dream pay because I have some big dreams. Dream pay is like, $12 million a month. That's dream pay. But my dream job, I'm doing it.
Finish the sentence. Love is?
Everywhere if you know how to look for it.
What's your favorite sound on earth?
My favorite sound on earth is Dad.
Your last words in life will be?
I'm not saying them just because if I say them, then that might be my last words in life. So I think my last words would be me on my deathbed at 120 years of age, blessing my children and their children, speaking God's word into their life to go out and be fulfilled.
So as you can see, I'm really excited about Eat, Way, Love and where that's going. And I'm so excited to have been able to share some of Tony's story and let you see sort of what an awesome partnership that is going to be and is with Eat, Way, Love. So if you'd like more information, shoot me an email, Joy, J-O-Y, at divorcewithjoy.com. And we'd love to have you. And Conversations with Joy comes out every week on Friday. So be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you don't miss an episode. I also have a blog, the With Joy blog, available through the website, divorcewithjoy.com. That's really more of a personal side of me, and I love sharing through that. And then we have a newsletter that you can subscribe to the website. So we love for you to keep coming and spend more time with Joy.